Hey guys, in this video we're going to be taking a look at the original QSC K12 legacy speaker, comparing it to the newer K12.2 speaker, looking at the different back panels, the different features of the speakers, doing a sound test, and ultimately helping you make a decision whether it's worth it to do the upgrade coming up. Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out this video. My name is Jeff, and on this channel we do different DJ equipment reviews as well as tech, toy, and gadget product reviews, so please consider subscribing. So we're going to start off looking at the front of the original K12 Legacy series and then the 12.2. So just some subtle things that are different. Both have this nice black grille that's on the front. The curves are maybe just a little bit different on the sides, but the rest of the grills look very similar. There seems to be a cloth that they've added behind the grill on the 12.2, and I think that does a couple of things. One, it kind of hides the inside of the speaker. Definitely makes it look very professional. The other thing is it probably keeps out any dust as well as dirt from hitting the inside of the speaker. As we go a little bit lower to the bottom of the speaker, on the older K12, we've got more of a raised logo plate that's on the bottom, and the power LED light is below that. On the new K12.2, the QSC logo is a little bit flatter, the plate that they put on here. The LED light is right in the middle. The original K12 was weighing in at 41 pounds, and they've decreased the weight with the 12.2 by a pound. So this is now 40 pounds, making it just slightly lighter for carrying. So running through the layout on the original K12, you had all of these switches, and these switches were going to allow you to add on an external sub, put it in normal mode or deep mode, as well as switch from a vocal boost to flat. You had your limit light, standby, and power, and then you had front LED options here where you had power. You could have it show limiting or just have it off. You also had this remote gain option. Here you had a line in A as well as a line in B. And these ports accept either an XLR or you can do a 1/4 inch jack. And then from here you can parallel out of these different lines in to other sources. And then each one of these channels had a gain knob. And then you also had another output here, a line out, which was mixed between these two channels. This channel was also sharing any input from RCA ports, these red and white ports that are here. You had a very visible cooling fan, you had your power switch, and then you have your AC inlet here for the power for the speaker. The K12.2 is going to feature a different back panel area. First, we're going to start off, a big chunk of this top area is taken up by this heat sink that they have on the back of here. Unlike the original K12, there really isn't a visible fan. From what I've read, there's a fan that exists inside this speaker as well, but it's not as visible as on the K12. In looking at all the settings on this back panel, a big difference we're going to see is that this has an LCD screen on it, and we have a turn knob here which is going to allow us to go through the different settings. All of those switches from the K12 have pretty much been replaced by this LCD panel with a couple of buttons and then the control knob. Something else we're going to see that's different is we have 3 gain dials as opposed to 2 channels or 2 gains from the K12. Running through these real quick, you've got your gain A and your gain B. These again have the ports to plug in an XLR cable, or you can also do your 1/4 inch jacks. You've still got your ports to parallel out, and then you've got a mixed out down here at the bottom. You'll note that we still have the AC in for the power and our power switch. Our power switch seems to be a little bit smaller, as well as these gain dials seem to be a little bit smaller than the original K12. Our gain C is replacing the RCA red and white ports that we had on the original K12 with this 3.5mm port by having this 3.5mm jack, you can directly plug in from an iPhone or some sort of smart device, a tablet, or even an iPod, and directly control that input with gain C. In this upper corner here of the original K12s, you had the remote gain port, which is no longer present on the speaker. And on QSC's website, when asked why did you remove the remote volume control, they said the rear panel of the K.2 is considerably more compact than its predecessor and yet offers far greater functionality. Only a handful of legacy K-series users ever took advantage of the remote volume feature. Therefore, a decision was made to trade its real estate on the back for something that had more functionality. So we're going to do a quick power test here with both the speakers, turning them on at the same time so you can watch the startups with them. You'll notice on the 12.2, the LCD panel coming on, we've got our blue power light, and we've got our blue power light on the K12. So the switches on the original K12 allowed you to do an external sub, normal mode, deep mode, as well as switch from vocal boost to flat. On our 12.2, our LCD panel and our turn knob are going to allow us to go to presets, and there are several presets: dance, live bright, live, default, and these are replacing those switches. So now going to the top of the speaker, you're going to notice a difference between the 12 and the 12.2. The original 12 was more slanted on the top, whereas the 12.2 is much flatter, made so that if you were going to be stacking multiple speakers or putting other things on top of the speaker, it's not going to slide off on that angle. So now we're going to look at the top and looking at the change in the handle design. Both handles are made out of metal, and you're going to find that there is less handle piece on the 12.2 than there is on the original K12. I would imagine they're doing that to again try and reduce the amount of weight for the speaker. I notice on the original 12s that there are 2 screw holes for possibly screwing more stuff to the top of the speaker, whereas on the 12.2 there's only 1 screw hole. This is different sized than the one that's on the original K12. Taking a look at the side of the speakers, the original K12, 12.2, looking at this side of the K12 and the 12.2, again we've got the different handle design. There's also a difference in the rubber padding mounts that are on the sides of the speakers. There's a continuous strip on the K12s where they've made smaller rubber padding on the 12.2s. So we're looking at the bottom of the K12, and you'll notice there's 1 cup holder for the pole. We've got this big rubber piece on the back here. On the 12.2, we now have 2 cup holder holes, and we've got a rubber piece, but a definitely smaller footprint than this big rubber piece on the K12. I'm sure they're slimming that down again to reduce the weight of the speaker. A big question that I had, and I'm sure you might have, is they would have 1 port on the bottom of the speaker to accept the pole, and you could adjust this setting to tilt the pole or tilt the speaker on the pole at a 7.5 degree angle pointing down. Why would they go from that to having 2 holes on their newer version of the speaker? Information I pulled off of QSC's website said that while the rotating tilt direct pole cup was certainly innovative at the time, it did have one minor flaw. Using the 7.5 degree down angle actually shifted the weight of the loudspeaker away from the center of its gravity, and the new dual pole cup ensures that the K.2 loudspeaker always rests on the center of gravity. So with the K.2s stating that they've got 2,000 watts of peak power and the original Legacy K-Series stating 1,000 watts of power, a big question is, can you tell the difference? What do the 2 speakers sound like? Let's do a sound test. Just to give you an idea here of my recording, we are going to be picking up the audio with a Shure PG58 microphone that I've got roughly about 6 feet away from the speakers. The signal's going through a mixer and then going into the headphone jack here of my iPhone. We're going to be playing music off of a laptop computer, which is directly connecting into the back of each one of these speakers. So the original K12 Legacies have the switches here for the external sub, norm, and then deep, whereas the K12.2s have the LCD screen, which has the presets for live, live bright, dance. Dance preset has seemed to be the closest to the deep setting. I don't exactly think we're comparing apples to apples, but what I'm going to do is a side-by-side comparison of the K12 Legacy in normal and then deep, and then compare that with the default settings, the dance settings, and some of the other sound settings with the K12.2s, just to give you an example of the different presets and how they compare. For the line that we're going to be using, the gains on both the speakers are both going to be set to 0 dB. Now to answer the big question, is it worth upgrading if you've got an original series of K Legacy speakers to the K.2s? My answer to that is it all depends on what you want to use the speakers for and what you want to get out of them. There's a lot of really nice features with the K12.2s. I like the fact that they have added the LCD screen on the back with the menu system. These days, everything that we use, from smartphones, tablets, computers, they all have screens on them. All the different options that this opens up to kind of give you to customize what you want to do with the speakers. I think adding a screen to the back panel of the speaker is just something that was eventually going to happen. I don't think there's any way you could put all of these settings into different switches and dials that are going to be on the back of the speaker. I do also like the fact that with the speakers now, they've added that cloth to kind of shield the inside of the speaker. That kind of hides all the guts on the inside. Listening to the sound test, the highs definitely sound crisper to me. The bass seems to sound a little fuller. If you're using these speakers like I am as a DJ, and say you do parties, say you do weddings, you're probably going to notice a difference in the sound. Is the average guest that's going to be at those parties and weddings going to notice the difference between the two speakers? I would say probably not, unless maybe they do some DJing or in a band or something themselves. One of the other interesting things is that they removed the RCA jacks. You know, I understand with them explaining that, again, more people are just wanting to plug in a tablet or a phone and then play music out of speakers. If you're missing the RCA jacks that used to be on the back, you can pick up a cable that converts RCA to a 3.5 millimeter cord, and that fixes a problem if you're kind of missing the option to have those RCA jacks. I don't think there's anything wrong with sticking with the original K12 Legacy speakers, but I do think that as technology keeps moving forward, if you're looking for kind of the next greatest thing, upgrading to the K12.2s is definitely the way to go. QSC speakers, from my experience, seem to have a decent resale value. So trying to sell off your existing K12s and upgrading to the K.2s, you're making that investment in your sound technology moving forward. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this comparison video. We also have other DJ equipment reviews on these speakers, and I've done a speaker bag video. I'll put a link to that up here as well. So definitely feel free to check that stuff out. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, definitely hit that subscribe button down below. If you hit the notification bell, you'll get notified as we release new videos. And also let me know your comments on what you think between the K12 Legacies and the K12.2s. Hey, my name is Jeff. This is Tinker Forward. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you soon.